Hi there, welcome along to Outdoor Gear Chat. This is episode 18. This is sponsored by Montane. So today we're going to be talking about kit lists specifically for the Lakeland 100 and the Lakeland 50, or the Ultra Tour of the Lake District, as its official name is. I'm joined, as always, by Cathy. Hi.
Hi, Wayne. How you doing?
Should I be honest?
I know you're not doing very well, are you?
No, I've got COVID. I'll move rapidly on. Feel rotten. You'll probably hear that throughout the course of this conversation. So my apologies if there's coughing, spluttering, etc. as we go through. So we are talking about the Lakeland 100 and the Lakeland 50. So it's now into its 15th year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and it's such a popular event as well, rightly so, because it's a brilliant event. But it's also a huge event, and I know both of us have got form with the Lakeland, certainly Lakeland 50 on my part. Have you had a crack at 100?
No, it doesn't interest me at all.
No. Someone said, "Oh, right, you've done the 50 a couple of times. When are you going to do the 100?" I'm like, "I'm not." No. Why? Well, it's twice as long as the 50.
Yeah, and the 50 is bad enough.
It's a really long way.
Yeah. It's tough enough, isn't it? Yeah. And that, I think that's the thing. Yeah, I was looking. Yeah, beforehand. I absolutely love this event. I have made friends with people that I would trust literally and have done with my life. On this event in all sorts of ways, from a participant perspective, but also a marshalling or a support perspective as well. Excuse me a minute. And it is, and it's true what they say about it. The Lakeland family comes together for this huge event, and I guess that's the thing. It's huge now and sells out in seconds, pretty much. The event, but wasn't always the case. I know, I've interviewed Mark Laithwaite a few times, maybe a couple of times for different things, including a radio show. And that wasn't the case in the year one. I think, was it on the Lakeland 100? I think there was 7 people start. I might get the numbers wrong here, and not very many for the 50 either. And now, I was trying to find the numbers before we came on, but the numbers, they are in the hundreds on both events.
Anyway. Like thousands floating around in my head. I'm not sure how. I don't know where I got that number
from.
I
think you might be right overall. I think is there a couple of thousand overall. We'll get corrected.
It certainly felt like it at the start line.
Yeah, well, see now, the first time I did it, the first year I entered, and I know I'm probably preempting the questions here. The first year I entered, I'd entered late for the event in the grand scheme of things. So I think it was the March or something like that I entered for it. Was it? Hang on a minute. When's it? Yeah, I think it was.
It was back in time. Was it in black and white, Wayne?
It was. It felt like it. Yeah, it definitely feels like it. Yeah. So it was, I think it really was the turning point that year, because then that when entries opened again later on that year after the event had been held, it just sold out in a matter of hours. And then now obviously there's a whole ballot process and stuff, I think, isn't there? But a lot of
our staff can remember it back in the day, when it was still sort of very much a local event. And we've got, most of our staff have done, our staff in Ambleside have done either the 50 or the 100 or both on multiple occasions. It's got something about it, people just keep going back and again and again and again.
It's a funny one, isn't it?
I can't explain it.
No.
But the 100 route, I suppose you've got like amazing scenery all the way around. You're not on the beaten track, really. There's a lot of it where you're on trails that are relatively quiet. And on the 100 route, it's circular, starting from Coniston and going out. You're taking 6,300 meters of ascent on the 100, and then the linear route of the 50 starts at Ullswater and you run back to Coniston. But that's still got 3,100 meters of ascent, which is pretty jolly meaty.
Yeah.
Your legs certainly feel that afterwards.
Oh, you're not kidding. And it does very much feel like it's up and down and up and down and up and down, isn't it? It feels relentless at points. But like you say, the most stunning of views. And when you look at the part that the Lakeland 100 takes in, and you the promo stuff, so you've got Dunnerdale, Eskdale, Wasdale, Buttermere, you've got Matterdale, Haweswater, Kentmere, Ambleside, Elterwater, Coniston. It's like it's a who's who of all the Lake District sites, isn't it? And it is spectacular. Some of the viewing points that you get is just on a good day.
Magic. And then, of course, you're getting to see that at dawn, at dusk. Well, unless you are obviously one of the racing snake folk at the front, which absolutely I am not. You get to see the lakes in all of those different types of light, which is just great as well. And then also you get to go through areas in the dark and get freaked out by sheep coughing at you in the darkness. And
and all the eyes. Yeah. Don't let it put you off if you're listening.
So how did you find yourself at the start line, Wayne?
It was a training run for a longer event.
Oh, no way, was it really?
It really was, yeah. I'd seen some friends had done it, and I had entered an event called the Marathon des Sables, which has a long stage of 50 miles. So I needed to be able to know I'd be able to do 50 miles in a wanna, for one of
what better way to train for the Sahara Desert than to do that distance in the Lake District?
Exactly. Yeah. It was exactly, and what I remember the race photographer had said to me, actually, there's no better training than the Lake District in winter for the Sahara in summer. And I didn't get what he meant at the time, but having done it, he was absolutely right. The punishment of wind, rain and hail in a Cumbrian winter was very, obviously other ends of the scale, but very similar to the punishment of sand in the Sahara. But yeah, that was why I entered. So I entered with my rucksack was way bigger, way heavier than anyone else's that was participating, because I needed to be able to know I could carry 10 kilos over 50 miles. And I managed it. But then, I did on that occasion. And this is the really strange thing. So I did it. I managed it on the first attempt, and then I've tried twice again and failed. And I think it's because my heart hasn't been in it. I haven't wanted it enough to finish it. And one occasion, I won't go into the details why, but rang, not here anyway, rang 0800 reverse and asked my mum to come and pick me up from Kentmere. Basically, that was the pinnacle of my DNF, of my failures.
You rang your mum to pick you up.
I rang my mum to come and pick me up. Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? So how about you anyway? How did you end up doing it?
Well, mine was by way of going out running for a bit after I'd had my second daughter. I was quite ill, and after having it, and I just thought, right, I need to do something about being fit enough and well enough to make sure I'm around. And the easiest thing, obviously, when you're a new mum, is just to pop your climbing shoes on and go out whenever you can. It's the easiest sort of form of sport that I found, and I never thought I would put the words running and fun in the same sentence ever. But I found that I could fit it in. I felt a lot better. I built up literally from zero. I'd had to have surgery after Connie came along, abdominal surgery, to the point I couldn't actually even walk to our front gate when I came out of hospital. So basically I was literally a couch to well, first of all, it was a couch to 10 meters for a start.
Wow.
And then over a couple of years, we were very fortunate to live in a village in the country, so I could run out from the house, and I knew I didn't like running on roads, so I just ran on through fields mostly. And a friend of mine was training for the Spine race, and as my well, actually it's Chris, who's now our Ambleside shop manager. As I was building up my distance, he got in touch and said, I'm training for this. I need somebody to come out with me so I can do multiple days. Do you fancy it? And I said, well, yeah, not knowing what I was getting myself into. So the first day I did with him, we did from Edale on the Pennine Way to I can't remember what the road junction is, but it's basically to some moors.
I know exactly where you mean. Yeah.
And then we bivvied in a patch of nettles behind a broken down stone wall, and then I said, right, stuff that, I'm going to get the car and I'll pick you up in Hebden, basically. So we continued to do those, and I might add, I started out in walking boots doing that, because he's like, no, it's just walking. And then the next time he turned up in his running shoes, and I'm like, oh. So I wore my running shoes on the proviso that I was walking. And then, of course, we didn't.
You end up trotting along.
I just found that I was running more and more and more. And strangely, Chris couldn't find a lot of people that would go out and run 25, 30-mile days with him, which is what we built up to do. Or rather, not running. I think Debbie Martin Consani coined the phrase, I love this, walking with conviction.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Yeah. You trot the bits that you can, but actually it's fast hiking, isn't it? That, that sort of American term, I think, a lot of the time that you are doing. Yeah.
And then once our staff here got wind of what I was doing, every single email they sent me, have you entered the Lakeland 50 yet? Or I'd come in and there'd be like one of the little foldy maps on my desk. This is for you.
Oh, brilliant.
I think there was some kind of conspiracy with our Montane rep at the time, and I found myself entered. I didn't even sign up for it.
Well, they were probably giving you all the clues and saying, well, you're already in, you best get training properly for it. Yeah.
So that's how I found myself at the start line, surrounded by all these racing fit people, and having had a multitude of conversations. Actually, every time I said in the shop, someone would say, no, I'm going to go and do the Lakeland 50. And I say, oh, cool, I'll see you at the start line. And they're like, oh, really? What time are you aiming for? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm a middle-aged mother of two. I have a business to run. My training time is, not brilliant, or I don't have a lot of it. Fundamentally, I am going to eat my way through each checkpoint to checkpoint. That was how I attacked it the first year. Right, okay, I've had a big load of food here. What's the next food coming out?
Yeah. What's the menu at the next one, isn't it? Yeah.
So that's how I approached it mentally, because I thought, if I set any times for myself and I start falling behind, that's going to destroy me. There's no way I'll, that will affect me and I won't finish. So,
and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. So there's 24 hours to get the Lakeland 50 done, or there's 40 hours to get the Lakeland 100 done. And I think that's it. Is a lot of people like you and I will be going for 23 hours, 59. That's it. You just want to come in sub 24 hours, basically, and anything else is a bonus.
Or definitely not qualify for the 100. I didn't want to come in. That was a major concern, actually. On the second year, I was like, oh no.
Don't want to go too fast.
I don't want to come within that qualifying time.
Brilliant. Well, see, I surprised myself thinking, was it 18 hours? I thought, and was the year that I did it, and I do think that I could go faster than that for a number of reasons, but yeah, then I was like, actually, similar to yourself, then I'd have, I'm in danger of doing a qualifying time for the 100, and then I'd be like, what if? And also, but I also think I'd love to make it to the Black Bull for last orders. And I don't, and that, I think the times have changed now, so I'm not sure that's possible for me. But yeah, anyway, that I think that the first year I'd done it, I think it was possible, that I could have made it by to the pub by the time last orders was called. Did it set off at, I think it used to set off earlier in the morning, I think, and it doesn't now. It's sort of later on, isn't it? But anyway, that is most definitely something that we won't be talking about. We got, it's an interesting one, isn't it, that you said as well. It's the linear route of the Lakeland 50, and I was reflecting on that when you said that earlier on, and going, it doesn't seem particularly linear when you're on
No,
it, does it? It seems
No,
bloody
it
all
doesn't.
over the place.
Yeah.
And I guess
Yeah.
that, and again, talking to Mark about how the event first came about, he just drew a big circle on the map, and they measured it and went, well, it's round about 100 miles. And that was, that was pretty much it, I think. And then they started checking it out and refining it. And Uncle Terry Conway got involved as far as doing the graft on the route itself. But yeah, I think it's an important note on the checkpoints as well, because they are phenomenal. And my favourite was always, was always the Montane checkpoint, Kentmere, which just felt like a party. Going there.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure if I didn't dream being served watermelon by a guy wearing a grass skirt and coconuts on his bed. Also.
Well, exactly. Yeah, am I hallucinating? Oh no, it's maybe I'm
not sure.
I've had a very nice fruit smoothie in there. What was happening? It was like, there was reggae music playing, and it's a nice summer's evening. All right, I've got another 32 miles to do, I think, is at that point, isn't it?
On.
Yeah, exactly. So that would highs are food, probably, and friendship as well for me. Did you get any of that with meeting people along the way as you went? Did you chatting away?
Met all sorts of different people along the way, and in fact, at one point, I gave up saying what I did for a living, because I'd be having chats with people, and it just comes up, oh, what do you do? And I met so many fantastic people who were like human rights solicitors and nurses, and they had all these amazing jobs, and they're like, what do you do? I was like, I sell jackets for a living.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, it was lovely chatting to all these people. It was really great. But actually my personal high was finishing my second year, I think it was, and I knew my friend Sarah Siri was running, and she's a serious runner. She set off like a racing snake, and that was the last I saw her. And she came back in, she placed, I think she came in the top 20, if my mind serves me correctly. Anyway, she was in by 10:30, and I came in at 6:30 the following morning, not expecting anybody to be there to welcome me. She had actually gone to bed, finished her run, gone to bed, got up with a and then came down with her partner Brian to come and cheer me over the line. And it was just like, oh my God, I was in bits, I was in tears, I was in dire need of the toilet. So I didn't, there was no kind of great homecoming of the person who's just won 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Miles. I was just like, take my poles, I'm going in that direction. But your medal's this way, I need the toilet. That was basically me over the finish line. But what a treat that was. That really, really, really lifted me. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny that I know. There's loads of names that suddenly flooded into my mind then, and one in particular, Maxine Grimshaw, who became a really good friend. She crewed with her partner. She crewed on my spine attempt, and she's walked the Lakeland 50 a few times. And I think she in the first time she walked it, she wanted to prove that it could be walked in 24 hours, and a lot of the time she walks faster than I can run. It's You're just like, Max, will you just slow down, please? Put your poles away or something like that. But yeah, all those countless names, and I'm like going through the list in my head of people that I, keep in contact with regularly on Facebook now that I've met through this amazing event. It's just and spent hour after hour with, because and I think that's the beauty of ultra events for me is you have nothing else to do but talk, and you do meet so many fascinating people, and from also, I mean, I've met a very small handful of people that I wouldn't want to spend any more time with but loads and loads of people that I've gladly spent hours with. It's interesting.
Really fascinating. I suppose we probably should talk about kit, actually. We've been waxing on. We're in danger of just doing story after story after story here, and there's a lot of stories. But do you have a fave item for your Lakeland event?
I think I think I mentioned this on the Spine one, and the Montane Prism kit for me is just brilliant. And that, so I have the Prism mitts and the Prism gloves, and Prism jacket, and the gilet as well. And but for the event, definitely I'd take my Prism gilet just for an extra bit of warmth, and then the gloves or the mitts, probably the mitts actually, because again, when you get the sausage fingers and motor function of your fingers gets a bit hard, particularly throughout the night. But they're just great for that extra warmth. Weirdly, in a midsummer Lake District night, you need that warmth on your hands, don't you? I think.
You definitely do.
And the poles, my Lecky poles, I've got to chuck them in as well. So I've had those for a good few years now, and they're just like they're not the Nordic walking ones. They are the grip ones, but they're just absolutely fantastic as far as having an extra two legs, to power your way up the hills, or coming down off Tilbuthwaite to the copper mines. Exactly. When your quads have gone, your feet are just. Your feet are just going to fall off in pain. How about yourself? What's up there on your kit list?
Oh, well, definitely the poles you just said, and you just mentioned like the descent from actually it was the descent down into Coniston for me, because on the first year I had an LCL issue that niggled, and then it just came back with a vengeance. Nothing at all. The year of training, nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just came back. Oh my word, that was agony. But the poles, Lecky Microlite poles with the little gloves, absolutely brilliant. And you do need to sort of chain with them and get into a rhythm, definitely, because certainly at Gates and Styles, I got in the right pickle to start with. But now I've got my method. It's like it's a bit military. Boom, boom, off, hands, hand over, do back on. So those, and my well, I suppose buff has become a generic term, and you get one with your Lakeland event, don't you? They become like sort of badges of honour, and those are fantastic. But we've actually just sourced some versions at the shop that are made entirely from recycled fishing line, so they're nylon, and I'm going to be taking one of those out next and try those, because they seem like a great environmental solution. So but I love those because they're an ear band, they're a wrist warmer, they're a neck warmer, they mop up stuff,
they mop fluids up,
or around a hot cup or a hot mug. They're just got any number of different uses, so I never go out without one of those.
No, likewise. And I've always got one wrapped around my wrist just in case or something. There's normally one in my pack and on my wrist. It's an interesting one actually, because talking about kit, I had the I think it was the Montane Anaconda backpack for a long while. I absolutely loved it, and then it died in all sorts of horrible different ways. I also had the I think it was called the backpack, which was the what do we call them? All I can think of is the American fanny pack. I can't. What do we call it?
Bum bag.
Sorry. It was. I'm sorry. I was like, I can't think of the English name for them. But the backpack, I absolutely loved that as well. So for shorter training runs, they were brilliant. And I know, I think it was Gaynor Pryor who, I think she won the women's event, the 100 a few times. She'd packed all her mandatory kit into I think it was an 8-litre bum bag at one point. It was absolutely incredible. And her fueling for the event was stuff like she'd take bacon sarnies, and I think she'd taped a bacon sarnie to the outside of the bum bag that she'd have at some point during the first night. It was brilliant. I'll have to ask her what she said.
Superb. There's a really good video actually on the Montane website, and it talks through all the mandatory kit for the Lakeland, and so it focuses on like tape waterproofs and mid layers for when you chill down super quickly when you're tired or you've just used all your reserves and stuff, and then the hat and the gloves. And actually that video features the lovely Debbie Martin-Consani and also Mark Kerry. So it's a great one to watch. That I'll put the link in the show notes.
Brilliant.
And that's all there ready.
Show notes. Hang on a minute. What's that professional term? Show notes. What's
show notes? Show notes. Show notes. If you click on the podcast, there's a little tab and it says show notes, and if you read down, there's all sorts of fascinating information in there.
Brilliant. It's just we haven't mentioned it before, and it sounded dead professional. There is, and it's important not to skimp. And I know the event organisers, and I know Mark Lathwaite says this every year on the recce's and in his pre-race briefing. Don't be skimping on the kit that you're taking along to that event, because it is you don't know. Anyone who's been out in it knows how quickly a Cumbrian summer can change, and the temperature drop, rain comes down. That year I dropped out. There's a helicopter flying overhead. There's a clap of thunder. There's a flash of lightning, and then the heavens just open. You're like, right, brilliant. I was having a rubbish time out anyway, and it's just got dramatically worse as you're going up Gatescarth Pass. It was. But yeah, thankfully I had been out in plenty of that before, so I knew what was coming. But yeah, not skimping on, not going to Decathlon and buying a cheap pair of waterproof trousers, because they'll just fail and in the middle of the night or whatever.
You definitely don't want that. I mean, I think the key thing is if you're going to invest in kit, the main thing is it's versatile. So whatever you look at, think about how you can use it for the other activities that you do. So it's not just for that event. You're actually buying something that you're going to be able to use at other events. Maybe if you're a paddler, if you're a walker, if you're doing backpacking or whatever, then you've got something decent that's going to last you and be really useful for other activities too. And I think that's the real key, versatility. What else can I use this for to get my money's worth out of it? It's going to protect me when I'm absolutely working at my max, but also it's something I can keep in my pack for the other times when I'm out enjoying the hills and the mountains as well.
And I think that's the one thing that I didn't realise at first, but then did after my first Lakeland 50, if you will. You're making that investment, because it's not just a one-off thing. You might think that to start off with. If you
get hooked in.
Absolutely, yeah. If you are, for example, a road runner or something like that, that's doing, or even if you're a walker, you're doing a lot of fell walking. Suddenly, when you realise that the kit is lightweight and you can move faster and go further, and I guess that's the Montane's point, I guess, isn't it? It's further, faster. It's that you suddenly and you like you were saying earlier, when you go from wearing walking boots to wearing trail shoes, suddenly you're like, bloody hell, I've got a lot more energy because I'm not carrying quite as much weight on my feet and on my back as well, and that it is that investment. And and then you cups. We've got to talk cups as well, which is
the people at the Lakeland event won't even mention the word cups. They won't respond to the word cups. There's been some humongous conversations going on about cups. I don't know what the actual wording is for this year. The first year I did it, the folding cups that we sell, the little Waldo folding cups, worked, and that was fine. That passed kit check. But I think the following year they had to be solid wall. So actually I got, my husband made me brilliant little beaker. Actually, I carry it all the time now. So these little IKEA beakers. He just cut that down so it was still a sensible size, maybe took the top sort of centimetre off, put a little hole in it and put a metal swage through it, and I just carry that, hook that onto the outside of my running pack with an accessory carabiner, so I can have hot, cold drinks. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to spill anything or crush it, and it doesn't weigh anything, and it just sits there ready to go. Perfect.
And I guess it's come from the background to this has come from a number of things. It's environmental impact as far as handing out cups of soup and squash and stuff for hundreds and hundreds of people at different checkpoints, and then people were skimping and scrimping it, if you will, on weight as far as collapsible cups go. And then I know I've worked on events before where somebody gives you a cup and you're like, well, how do you expect me to make a brew in that? It's, we're both. I'm going to burn my hand making it, and you're going to burn your hand drinking it, and so on. So it's definitely some, and then experimenting with how you might access drinking during the course of a potentially 24 to 40 hour event using a collapsible cup, and they are some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are less useful than others, that's for sure.
Yeah, very, very diplomatically put there. I was holding my head, not able to think about the word. And yeah, you did just mention this, I think, in your spiel there. But like testing it, making sure your kit will work for you. In all conditions, isn't it? It's just
And that involves, like for me anyway, whenever I was out on a training run, I always ran with a full pack. A, because that's what you're going to be doing on the day. But B, it just meant that I nailed knowing where everything was. There's so many pockets. It took me months to remember where I put stuff. So it just became second nature. I need this, even though I was fogged in the head, I knew where it was, I could access it. Fundamentally, I knew my packing method, so I could put it back in the same way, so that later on, when I was even more brain fogged, I could still find what I needed and access what I needed. It's kind of military precision, but it makes such a difference. It
really does, yeah. And I remember doing one training run, and we'd started, and it was raining, and we were doing an overnighter. It was just starting to get dark, and then the rain started coming down, and we're there, and there's loads of pack rustling going on, and like, what's going on? I'm trying to find the head torch. Right, well, you knew we were going to be out in the dark. Why is that not really high? And it was at the bottom of a pack, and you're like, right, brilliant. Now we're all soaking wet and cold it was a good learning point for later on, obviously. But it was. Back to previous ones, is your head torch charged? Have you got spare batteries? Is it?
Little situation after recording the lighting podcast and me going out running with an uncharged head torch. Yes, I'm not going to live that down, am I?
No, it was only 50% mentioned because of that, in fairness, but it was. Like we said on that podcast, that is something that I've done myself, and come training for something like this or the event itself, you need to be able to do that. And I guess that whole fumble, is your head torch going to last the night on a particular power setting, or do you need a spare set of batteries? Do you know how you're going to replace those batteries in? Because you don't want them failing between checkpoints.
No, definitely
when it's dark. And holding somebody else up.
Yeah, and you need that torch, like you were saying, it needs to be accessible, and that kind of comes back to your pack as well, and getting the right pack for you. And Montane do an amazing range called the Gecko Pack range, and they just pulled together a huge amount of science and experience, and they combined it all to create really simple technical packs, a whole range from a waist belt right through to a standard race vest, right through to actually an actual vest you wear. So they've just, what they've designed just doesn't compromise on the movement that you need and your upper body movement when you're running. And the way they've been able to do that is by working with athletes, and they've put a huge amount of time in. And again, actually, and I'll put this in the show notes too, there's a video showing just how much work has gone into the design with the runners that they work with, because it's colossal, and it's really important to take that into account. You know, there's so much work gone into the fit, to the comfort, to make sure it's sized correctly, so they're unisex, everything from small, medium, large, and they're breathable. And then fundamentally with this new range, that they're less whiffy. They're all polygene impregnated, which is like a permanent odor control. So it's basically a low concentrate of silver salt, which has antimicrobial properties, and that means that it inhibits the growth of odor-causing bacteria. So you can basically wear it more and wash it less, whether it's clothing, whether it's a pack. That saves you water and energy. And then you got to think, you know, how many of us have thrown away running kit that's actually perfectly usable, but it just absolutely reeks.
Honks. You
just can't go out in public in it. So Polygene can offer perhaps not the entire solution. We all perspire at our own rates and at different rates, but it can certainly go a long way to help and prolong the life of something.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sorry, I had another. Oh no, I had another question, but actually it was linked back to kit generally. So and I wear the Terra Alpine short, and I have done for quite some time. Yeah, but I was very grateful to Montane because they provided a load of kit for me to do the MDS in, including the Terra Alpine short. And they look like a Bermuda short, but they're absolutely amazing. So they've got nice deep pockets in. They've got like a zippable key pocket, which for that I just have terrors about that constantly losing a house or a car key.
Yeah.
And then I can just stick loads of food in pockets or like a head torch or for me for my phone I'm just taking like whip my phone out and take snaps while I'm out running as well. I'm a big fan of that, remembering why we're doing it is actually for me is appreciating the outdoors. So I want to do these events, but actually it's just those stunning sights on the days where you can see them as well. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
love
what sort of running's about for me now these days. It's more of a photographic trot.
exactly. Yeah. Let's admire the view. Yeah.
Well, excitingly, there is an opportunity with Montane to win a whopping £250 worth of Montane kit to help you along your way on your Lakeland 50 or your Lakeland 100. And we will have all of those details available on our website, www.climbers-shop.com. Just click on the homepage and all the entry details are there.
Brilliant. So that what does that make? Is that like a voucher for 250 quid's worth of stuff, or is it like is it a particular package? Sorry, Cathy, is it?
It's
like
it's going to be basically, because it's so difficult for Montane and for us to put like a size of clothing, if you like, into a prize pool. Basically, this will be £250 at retail value of
however you want to spend it.
Whatever size you are, whatever gender you are, it doesn't matter. You're going to have £250 worth of kit that's going to fit and it's going to be right for you.
Amazing. Wow, that's that's fantastic. How do we enter? Not open.
I think there's something in the small print, Wayne. I don't think you can. Sorry about that. You already got yours for the Marathon des Sables anyway.
I know I have. And again, they've been Montane have been very, very good to me since then as well, to say the least. I've had
they're a really good British company. They're really going places, and and they've been doing what they do very well for a long time. The old sort of Montane smocks. I think they still make the original. For sort of ideally really, really, really cold conditions.
That's it. The extreme smock it was absolutely amazing, and that and supporting loads of races as well as we said with the Spine when we spoke to Debbie and the Lakeland 100 and the Lakeland 50. They've been supporting that for years now. I think since very, very early on, haven't they? So
really putting back into the sports, and then the whole sort of VIA series of clothing, running or trail running clothing is superb. So there's all sorts to look at, and great women's collections as well as men's. Lots and lots to choose from there. But if you are heading out, whether it's on the Lakeland 50 and 100, or you're starting out on your very first trail running, or maybe thinking about getting into it, there's lots of tips and advice on our Joe Brown Outdoor Academy website, which is www.joebrownoutdooracademy.com. And of course, listeners, if you so wish, you can hire Wayne and come to the Lake District. He will take care of all of your needs as far as accommodation and
good clarification
running.
there. Thank you.
And you can look him up on www.runningconcierge, is it .com or .co.uk? .co.uk. Fantastic. Brilliant. So Rain offers brilliant guided runs with loads and loads of really random facts.
It is really random facts as well. Love the geekery linked to the Lake District. There's plenty to talk about, obviously, from a cultural perspective, a history and all the rest of it. But so that's been episode 18. of Outdoor Gear
Yes.
Chat. I've been Wayne.
I've been Cathy.
We'll be back again soon.